Hello, and welcome to another edition of One Bad Veggies Root Beer Review, where in this review we'll find out if pumpkin spice actually does make everything better. In this review, we'll be reviewing Filbert's Pumpkin Root Beer. Now, I've done Filbert's draft in the past, which was interesting because that was, I remember that was the review where I did two root beers at once because they have a cane sugar version and a high fructose corn syrup version. So I wanted to try both of them to see if they were different, and they were pretty different. This one is their seasonal pumpkin version, which I figured 'tis the season, so I went ahead and grabbed it, and we're gonna go ahead and review it. And I think this is the first time I've ever reviewed a pumpkin flavored root beer. So we'll go ahead and see if pumpkin is a flavor that mixes well with root beer. So here we go with the ingredients. We're going to go ahead and have them pop up right here. As you can see, basic ingredients: pure cane sugar, water, natural artificial flavors. Something interesting, obviously, that should pop out to me and anyone else is the fact that there's no pumpkin flavoring listed in the ingredients. Let's go ahead and get a look at this bottle here. But here's the bottle here. So of course, this is definitely one of those times where, you know, I'll often say like natural and artificial flavors count towards the flavoring of the soda, even if pumpkin or something like that isn't specifically said, that's included in there. I do wish there was a little bit more clarity on like how things are flavored, but I guess that also adds to kind of like the mystery of like, oh, what is the flavoring inside of it? You know, so here we go. Let's get a closer look at the bottle here. Very simple, taped on cover. I think the regular Filbert's also has just a normal label as such. Old-fashioned horses dragging barrels for some reason. I'm assuming that those are delicious barrels of root beer. I think that's a fair assumption to make. Anyway, because the ingredients are pretty simple, there's really not too much to go on here. And we can go ahead and open it up and get ourselves a sniff. All right, let's go ahead and crack this open and get ourselves a little sniff. Knock the microphone there. Oh, yes. Okay, immediately pumpkin. Immediately like, it's so pumpkin-y. It's so pumpkin-y. And a little bit of vanilla in the background, almost like a pumpkin cream. Now, I know that Filbert's makes a pumpkin cream soda. So, that's always out there too. But yeah, very pumpkin-y, very, very pumpkin-y. Almost can't smell any root beer flavors other than maybe the vanilla, which is interesting because, you know, a lot of times when you get flavored root beers, you get overpowered by the flavor that's being advertised on it. I've always mentioned salted caramel as the most gross of these tends to almost make the root beer taste smoky rather than caramely, which I don't even know what caramel would add to root beer because it's already sweet and caramel is just kind of more sweet. I mean, it does have its own flavor, but I don't really think it would add too much to the flavor. Anyway, this isn't a review of caramel root beers. This is a review of pumpkin root beer. And right now, this just smells like a pumpkin soda. So I'm hoping that the pumpkin flavor isn't too overpowering, but we're going to have to go ahead and check the foam and the pour first. And here we go. We've got our trusty mug. So let's go ahead and just uncap this again and give this a pour. Oh, look at that. I don't know if you can see it. It's almost like a clear orange color. Well, I mean, yeah, you're going to see it once it all pours out. Okay. So not really any kind of foam to drink, no head or anything like that. It almost has like a Sprite looking texture. It's very, I mean, you can see just by looking at it, it is orange. It is an orange colored soda, but it's also clear too. So I guess it's not like Orange Crush. I mean, honestly, really, it has the coloring of like a beer to it. So, but yeah, no foam to be seen. So, nothing to test out there. Very interesting already. So, and I can smell the pumpkin from here. So let's go ahead and get into the taste test. All right, here we go. Bottoms up. This is an incredibly unique tasting root beer. In fact, I would be hard pressed to say that it even tastes like a root beer. The pumpkin flavor is overpowering to basically anything else that's in there. It's not, I mean, just talking about the taste, it's so hard to review this right now because it says right on the bottle, pumpkin root beer. And it doesn't taste like a root beer at all. I mean, it is pumpkin root beer. Like, it is, the root beer part of it is so minimal. It's like, I just almost want to call it like a pumpkin soda. Yeah, it's this one's a tough one because it is so unique. And while there is, I think you have the bite of a root beer, and like I said, the root beer is there, but it's so minimal. It's so minimal that it's like, it's almost like it's a pumpkin soda that has root beer as the undertone, right? Like, instead of a root beer that has some pumpkin flavor in the background, this is a pumpkin soda that has a root beer as the background. And it really makes it hard to figure out how to grade this. So, but I'm going to go ahead and think about this one, and then I'll be back with a rating. Now, in the past, I have given lower letter grades to root beers that I felt were almost too cola, right? Maybe tasted more cola-like than like a root beer. My reasoning behind that was that, like, well, you want your root beer to taste like a root beer. You don't want it to taste like a different kind of pop, right? Which is why I'm having a hard time with this one, because I don't necessarily think that it tastes bad. In fact, I think it tastes very good. I think that pumpkin soda is, I like pumpkin flavoring on things, right? So first off, I mean, that's just automatically a win right there. I just like the pumpkin flavor. However, that makes it so that this soda I actually enjoy. If I was grading this just on a soda scale, I would probably grade it higher than what I'm going to grade it as a root beer. And that's the problem, is that it doesn't taste like a root beer. It just doesn't taste like a root beer. Like, the root beer is so minimal. But I also kind of want to, my letter grade is also based on my opinion of, do I think it tastes good? Which I do. It's actually this one's pretty tough to grade. So I'm kind of wavering between a C, which is, I think, is fair on the level of it being tasty, but I also am kind of wavering on a D because it doesn't really taste like root beer. I think I'm going to go with the C because it's still a good drink, right? Doesn't necessarily taste a whole lot like root beer, but there is something there, right? There is still something there. Just like I said, you get root beer on the back end instead of on the front end, which is not normally how it goes. Normally it goes root beer flavor on the front end, and then whatever kind of other flavors that are mixed in kind of on the back end, like your vanillas and other things like that. So yeah, I'm going to give this one a C. Because I do think it's good. It's a different sort of root beer. If you're looking for something different, if you're looking for something unique that you want to try, go ahead and search one of these out. Being the season that it is, being October, it's probably easier to find right now than it usually is in the rest of the year. Probably the only time of the year that it's out. I would not be surprised to find out that this is a seasonal root beer. In fact, I never heard of it before until I found it. So yeah, C. Just a little side note in the outro here, seeing as I noticed that that it was bubbly, more like a Sprite, which also makes it way more burpy than normal too. So there you go. If you're ever looking for a root beer that can help you belch a lot more, that would, this one's a winner for that too. So, but anyway, that's really it for this one. Go ahead and like and subscribe if you liked this video. And of course, follow me here on, well, subscribe on YouTube. Follow me on Twitch, where I do stream occasionally. That's really it for now. So I hope you had a good time.